Welcome back. This is Take Charge of Your Health with Corinne Furnari, clinical nutritionist and physician assistant, and my co-host, Carol Petersen, pharmacist. Every week, we present you with new and creative ways to help you make sense of health information and bring it home to you and your family. With years of clinical experience between us and research into traditional and cutting-edge technologies, we give you practical information to help you take charge of your health. Welcome back. Welcome back. What a beautiful day to be back. It's just gorgeous and balmy, especially after hearing what the weather's like on the West Coast. Oh my goodness, are we in heaven? And I'm here with my co-host, Carol Petersen, and we have a special show for today. Carol, are you there today? Are you there now?
Carol is there. She just needs to unmute.
Okay, thank you, Reggie. Okay, so we have a very special show today. I'll just start it out in that many of you notice, if you've been listening to our show, that we're quite proponents of vitamin K. Generally, what I in my office use vitamin K for is for osteoporosis. It has been proven to literally reverse osteoporosis. And for bone pain is another what I use. And pain, just overall pain, I use vitamin K for. And basic support. Whenever I give minerals, I make sure that there's adequate K. But when we're looking at therapeutic K, Carol, are you there? But when we're looking at therapeutic K, we're looking at high doses. So when we want the K in a therapeutic dose, what we have to do, and what often happens, is I'm looking all over for it, and I can't really find it. And there was a company that used to make it in therapeutic doses, and now they still make it, but it's in a very low dose. So you're going to have to take multiple pills to get to a therapeutic dose. And the therapeutic dose is where you want to be. So that's what we did today. We brought to you, as a premium, a therapeutic dose of vitamin K. Now, what happens is that therapeutic doses are difficult to come by, so we've brought this to you. We've brought it to you in vitamin K, concentrated K. It's a beautiful formula. It's got the full mix of K, and it's going to be available to you as a premium, as a gift, for you supporting the station that you love and want. Now, I'll tell you, I love vitamin K. I've been using it for years with my patients. But I'll tell you, what has happened is the research and the understanding on vitamin K has grown exponentially. I can't even begin to tell you. Hi, sweetheart. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
I sure can. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm on my own, but I'm ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Reggie.
So,
there's always something.
Always something. It's called Murphy's Law.
Yeah. So we have our guest standing by. Do you mind if I introduce him?
Yes, please do. I was just finishing that we have vitamin K available now in a therapeutic dose for the audience. But I was going to say one other thing. What I have learned in preparing and what I have learned through working through the vitamin concentrated K website is far beyond my previous understanding of K, and I thought K was terrific, fabulous beforehand. But now I need a new word now, Carol, because I am so impressed with the depth of research that's going on and also the results they're getting. So please introduce our guest, because I would love him to explain. And then I'm just going to give you the number right here to call in to get the vitamin K. It's a large bottle. It's a mix of vitamin K, and we'll be explaining to you why that is so important. And then there is a small amount of, and now I'm going to massacre it, astaxanthin in it, which helps antioxidize. It's one of the finest, most concentrate antioxidant we have, together in this capsule, this fat soluble capsule. And the number to call, 212-209-2950. It's $100 for a large bottle, and you will be hearing why you want it. I do. Okay, Carol.
I think so. I'm going to make this a little anecdotal. I first met Pat Theut. I was at a meeting of ICIM, the International College of Integrative Medicine, which is one of my favorite groups. And he was wandering around looking a little lost. But he was not lost because he'd found me. And I soon learned that his background was in engineering. He did a lot of work for the paper industry in actually my home state, Wisconsin. So we got to talk about pipes right from the get-go. So
okay.
It sometimes takes an engineer or somebody outside of the medical field to peer in to really take another look at things. So, like for many of us, Pat Theut's journey was personal. He embodies taking charge of your health in one of the biggest ways that I have ever come across. So, Pat, welcome to our show. I'd like you to start out with a little bit about your background and your story, what got you started with vitamin K. And then I have another, I'll save it for later. Pat, welcome.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm humbled to be on your show. A little background on myself. I have a master's in biochemical engineering with a subspecialty in pulp and paper. I've got a Tier 1 MBA and a master's in statistics, and just wrapping up my PhD in leadership. I just retired from the paper industry after 48 years, and your listening audience can relate to what I did for the last 8 years in the paper industry. I made virtually all the blue painter's tape in the world.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So, okay. My background, going back to my undergraduate days, I was a pre-med, just missed getting into U of M, Michigan State Medical Schools 2 years in a row. Then went to work in the paper industry, and my proclivity in the paper industry was for creativity, constantly trying to figure out better, faster, smarter. Well, if you go to the website k-vitamins.com, you can see my story in there. It's called My Story. It's copyrighted. But basically, the Reader's Digest version is this. I went to the Mayo Clinic in November of 2002 for an executive physical. I passed it with flying colors, and as I was walking out the door to lunch, my attending personal care physician said, "Would you like any other tests?" And I said, "Yes. I understand you have this thing called a calcium score test, this scanner. Could you give me one?" And she said, we don't recommend it because you passed with flying colors. Well, make a long story short, I got the test done, and that's when my life changed. hats off to the Mayo Clinic. I would not be alive today if it wasn't for them and their thoroughness and their attention to detail. And also motivation, too. Basically, November 13th in 2002, the Mayo gave me less than 4 years to live. And as I said to my attending cardiologist, my body got me into this mess. My body can get me out of this mess. And to make a long story short, my left main was completely calcified from the wall of the heart to the branch. And in 2.5 years, I cleaned it all out. And my journey then got even more interesting, if not, I wouldn't say bizarre, but lots of twists and turns.
Very interesting that in 2.5 years you cleaned it out. If I went to any cardiologist and said, I have blockages in my heart, is there anything that I can do? 97, 98, 99% of them would say, no, there's nothing you can do. You can see about preventing accumulation, but more accumulation is quite standard. So I'm very interested to hear how you clean that out. I know my audience is also.
Well, in the adventure, if you want to call it that, by April of 2003, in January of 2003, I wrote my good friend in Tiburon, California, Bob. I said, Bob, heart disease is a gut bacteria problem. And that was well before anybody even knew anything about the gut bacteria and what it did. And how did I know? But it was because I have a background in anaerobic bacteria, basically engineering. And by the middle of April, end of April, I pretty much figured out all of the various steps that need to be done to make the calcium to go away. It starts first with getting your free T3 correct. That's a thyroid test. You got to get that right. Then you got to get your vitamin D right. We've all heard about vitamin D, right?
Yes.
In 2003, nobody heard about vitamin D. They just didn't know it. And then at the same time, you had to get your CoQ10 right, and you had to get your HDL up, and your ApoA1 up. In other words, a ketogenic diet, carnivore, whatever, low carb, whatever you want to call it. Or as I tell people, don't eat junk food. Let's start there, And it progressed into making sure that getting your magnesium correct. We've all heard about how important magnesium is. And the test for that is red blood cell magnesium. And I got all that right. My diet had a lot of sauerkraut in it and a lot of broccoli at the time and no junk food at all. And things are going well. And then I had I'll just say a medical speed bump, and I'm not going to get into that right now, but I was thrown back a bit. My left main stayed clear, but I had another problem. I had to address that. So by 2010, I realized that I had done something right in 2003, 2004, but I just didn't know exactly what it was. Being an engineer, I'm very curious about what really changed. And it turns out it was vitamin K. And I got that as a clue from Mercola, from an article he published in 1999, just a brief one. And then another clue from Dr. Bill Davis. You're probably familiar with his book, Weak Belly.
Yes, he's a cardiologist.
Yep, now retired, good guy. Any of his books, I highly recommend to your listening audience. Dr. Davis, I considered a real professional, and when I pretty good friends. So Dr.
Pat, could I interject for a moment? Sure. I'm not sure everybody would know what a calcium score is, and I would like you to just briefly say that. But I'd also like to encourage people to phone in and get the premium of his product, Concentrated K, for a $100 donation. The phone is 212-209-2950. And I'd also like to acknowledge that Pat has donated to WBAI some of his product so we can use this as a premium for this show. Thank you very much, Pat. And back to the calcium score.
Okay, how the calcium score is done, you lay down on a table, much like getting an MRI. You have this big magnetic donut, and you are slowly driven through the magnetic donut, and it takes about 10 minutes. And the magnetic donut, obviously with radiation, not much, it's very little, measures how much calcium is built up inside your artery. Now, an artery is a hose inside of a hose, and the calcium builds up in between the hoses. It does not build up in the what's called the lumen, or the hole in your hose. That only happens if bad things, you get a clot form. But for the most part, it's a measure of the calcium inside your wall of your pipe. And if your calcium score changes from year to year to year, that means you have things growing in there called vascular smooth muscle cells. And when they grow, they leave a trace of calcium behind. And the objective of attacking this holistically is to stop, first of all, get it measured. Second of all, slow down the growth. Thirdly, stop the growth. And fourth, clean it out. That's the plan.
And we have a tool you can easily measure this now, whereas
Absolutely.
Before we didn't quite have this access.
That's correct. This tool really came available in the late 1990s as an EBT scanner. It's all safe, all things considered, and it saved my life and it saved the lives of a lot of people. So fast forward to 2010, I realized that MK7, which is a form of K, is found in sauerkraut. K1, which is found in broccoli, kale, spinach, and collards. That is important. And then I learned about MK4, which is the form of K that's very important in conjunction with magnesium and a little bit of boron and a little bit of insulin and a little bit of vitamin C and a little bit of magnesium. Gives you amazing bone health. And so this was in 2010. I started experimenting with it in late 2010. My girlfriend at the time, an eventual business partner, who, by the way, is the person who does the website. She's a PhD clinical psychologist. We went to a vitamin K conference in Scottsdale, Arizona, where I met the experts in the world in K. Studies, Sugars and Vermeers, Sarah Booth out of Tufts University, and Dr. Sato, who's Mr. Osteoporosis in Japan. And we got to talking, and I asked him if I was going to make a capsule, and this originally was just for myself, what should I put in it? And Studies, who's Mr. K1, said, put 5 milligrams in there. I said, okay. Sugars and Vermeers said, a half a milligram of MK7. It should be more than enough. And Sato said 25 milligrams of MK4. And I said, okay, and I asked him why. Well, as Studies pointed out, your body loves K. It just does. And what it doesn't need, it gets rid of. So according to the experts, of anything you can take too much of, but within reason, 1 or 2 caps of this stuff is no big deal. And K1 is used to first keep you from clotting up, and then it keeps you from not clotting up. Sounds kind of strange, but that's how K1 works. And the liver and the body is so good at, I just call it rejiggering K to make it in the K that it needs. As Studies points out, if you give your body sufficient K1, then what's left over will be put in other parts of the body where it's needed, such as in the brain for myelin sheath formation, which is interesting, and the implications there is for Alzheimer's. Sato said if you take 45 milligrams of K, MK4, along with D and magnesium, it will slow down or stop the progression of osteoporosis, and that's pretty much what's being done in Japan right now. He's Mr. Osteoporosis in Japan.
And 45 milligrams in this country is a very difficult dose to find.
That's right. Well, that's why I put. So Sato told him put 25 in there, and that's good for most everybody until you say the osteopenia stuff. And he said
then you take 2.
Then take 2. Then you're all set. So I reviewed with all the guys what I eventually came up with, and they said, yeah, that'll work, because now each K goes and does what it's really designed to do, and rather than compromising. Now the MK7 is involved in what I call reverse calcium transport, which is taking the calcium out of your pipes. Also, it's involved in, I'll just say, it's a chemical reaction called carboxylation. Now, when things are carboxylated, your body runs really well. Let's put it that way. And with the highlight being it takes out the calcium. And then you just perk along.
Can I ask, Pat, what about the coagulation? Anticoagulants like Coumadin interfere with vitamin K. And those people are warned not to take vitamin K nor use any vegetable like alfalfa or things like that with vitamin K in it. I guess no sauerkraut, right?
Okay.
What's your latest take on that?
Coumadin and warfarin are contraindicated with taking K. But the literature is starting to indicate that if you take real low-dose MK7, something like 100 micrograms, once or twice a day, it stabilizes your INR remarkably. The issue with warfarin, aka Coumadin, is that it induces heart disease. It induces heart of the arteries. That's also known. That's why the medical world, thank God, came up with the dabigatrins, which work on a different pathway, so that then allows you to take your vitamin Ks. Fascinating what's going on out there. It's amazing.
So vitamin K has such unique and broad spectrum reactions in the body and support to the body. I was particularly fascinated by vitamin K and cancer. Now, I know the work out of Reardon Clinic where vitamin K and vitamin D together were blocking specific cases of ovarian cancer, which is a very difficult cancer. It's very aggressive. It's difficult to diagnose, but then also to get a response or a positive response out of standard treatments is really unusual or not usual, or they're minimal. The response you get is minimal. But when I was reading in here the spectrum of cancers that vitamin K has been and is being researched on, I was so terribly impressed by the results they're seeing as vitamin K as supportive, like leukemias and prostate cancer and breast cancer and pancreatic cancer and colon cancer. All of these are being researched and have been researched in terms of reversing, slowing down, blocking cancers. Now, that to me is very interesting, how a vitamin can do that. Can you explain that in a short and easy explanation? I know that's mean, but we're all lay audience.
Well, it starts with the liver. In the liver, let's talk about, it really starts in the gut. There's the gut talks to the body talks to the gut talks to the brain, and the brain talks to the gut. Well, your body will identify, I'll keep this explanation simple. It'll see, say, vitamin K in the gut. And vitamin K looks like a pollywog. It's got a real long tail on it. The gut bacteria will cut that tail off and put the resulting chemical called metadione in your lymph system and in your serum, because metadione is water soluble. It appears, and this is again, like you say, there's a lot of research going on there, but it appears to be the pathway is that the metadione selectively kills cancer cells. Metadione also crosses the blood-brain barrier and allows for the myelination of your neurons. Kind of a fascinating thing. Now, the liver also will take K1, cut the tail off of it, stick it on an LDL particle. And by the way, the LDL particles and HDL particles carry your K and your CoQ10 and your E all over your body. D and the vitamin A are carried by their separate carrier proteins. And a lot of people don't realize that's what the LDL and HDL do. They're little dump trucks that haul stuff all over the place. Drop it off. So that's in the process of K1 killing fat-acting cells. This was discovered in 1999. It's called autoschisis. And it's a combination of, well, K1 for sure, with help, a little bit of help from vitamin C. And it's just fascinating.
This brings me to one thing I was going to say earlier. On your website, you call atherosclerosis, or the plaque, you call it an arterial cancer.
Right.
Do you want to elaborate
That was
on?
interesting.
Yeah, well, when you have things that are growing that are not supposed to be growing there, that's usually a definition of a cancer. Because what has happened was the vascular smooth muscle cells become, I'll just say, upset with the foam cells that are in there. And the foam cells induce a genetic change in the vascular smooth muscle cells to cause them to grow uncontrollably, and at the same time leave a streak of calcium left behind. So that fits a very loose definition of what cancer is. And part of slowing those vascular smooth muscle cells down, or if not killing them, is to get MK7 in there, doing its thing in the carboxylation arena. That's rather than boring everybody with the biochemistry. And basically, it inadvertently stimulates the removal of the calcium and kills vascular smooth muscle cells that are the bad actors, but yet the good ones it leaves alone.
So,
Corinne, I think we should stop for a break here.
Exactly.
And remind everybody that we have as a premium concentrated K, and this is a very generous dose of vitamin K, and you'll not find anything like it in the marketplace, not even close. So this is a premium. We are sharing for a donation of $100. You can phone in at 212-209-2950. Corinne, what are some of the other ways people can get in touch with us to donate?
They could go on their website and go give, Give, to the number 2, and it's .org. Give to WBAI.org. Give to WBAI.org. And then you can click on, and you can, within minutes, put in a donation and receive this premium. You could become a buddy, which we love, because being a buddy is like having a regular income. It doesn't have to be high, but it has to be regular. And it makes our life so much easier so we can plan and prepare and even think ahead when we have multiple people working with us and working with their favorite radio station, sending in money, and it's taken out automatically. It's tax deductible. It can be $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month. $20 a month is, if you're living in the city, is close to what you spend on coffee or less, or less. And that goes to WBAI, so that not only you can hear WBAI 24/7, but so can your neighbors who maybe can't afford that $20 a month. So think about yourself. Think about this as a community. It's sometimes very hard to think of New York City as a community because it's so massive. But it's really easy to realize that WBAI is a community, and we work together to support your health. And we bring to you some of the most amazing premiums, unique, first to hit the market. We don't just bring the average supplements. We bring things that are unique, hard to find, and show benefits to your health that most things, because you have studies behind them, you have proof behind them. You also have clinic behind them because I use them in my office and I see the response. I use them in my family and I see the response. So the number to call is 212-209-2950, and you can get concentrated, that's with a K, vitamin K, and you could take one a day, and you will feel a difference. You'll literally feel a difference in your bones, but you'll also feel a difference in your energy. It supports the mitochondria. We haven't even gotten to this part. It supports the mitochondria to release and make energy. We're also going to be talking about it helps with insulin resistance and helps stabilize diabetes. We're also, how many of us think about our teeth? We think about our bones, but what about our teeth? Well, guess what? The number one nutrient in the saliva is vitamin K4. So your body is releasing vitamin K and washing your mouth and washing your teeth with it every time there's fluid in your mouth. And it goes on. And dementia with vitamin K. Now, what we're talking about is this amazing nutrient, hard to find, in a therapeutic dose, available to you. And now we're going to continue with our interview to hear and understand more. Because once you understand, I was in the middle of studying this. I stopped studying and called my mother, called my sister. Denise, get vitamin K for Mom. You should be taking it one a day. This is the website. That's how impressed that I was with the research and what I was seeing with vitamin K. Now, I've always told my patients and my people, if they have bone pain, if they have pain, if they have osteoporosis, if their bones are weakening. But I never told them if their teeth are weak. I never told them if their memory is going down. I never told them if they had to protect their heart. These are all added in addition, or protect themselves and possibly prevent cancers, but definitely proven slowed down progression of cancers. So what we're dealing with is this amazing nutrient. You take it with vitamin D, you take it with a little magnesium, and it's terrific, and it's here for you. And I challenge you to find this dose anywhere on the internet. I've looked for it. I'm not so good on the internet, but I've looked for it, and my patients have also. So the number to call is 212-209-2950. Support your radio, support your community, and support your health. All of that all in one with a $100 donation. You'll receive Concentrate K as our thank you. Carol?
Well, let's go back to our interview. One other nice phrase I saw back to atherosclerosis. Pat writes, consider this soft, squishy bone. But perhaps we can extend that to talking about the teeth a little more. We haven't delved into that as much, and you talk about that in quite a lot of detail on your website.
Okay, I can give you the Reader's Digest version.
Please.
In theory, your teeth heal from the outside in, not the inside out. Your saliva needs to have vitamin K, vitamin C, vitamin D, and magnesium. And if you do it right, the theory was, again, Carol, you've known me. I tend to dig around and read too much. And
that's right.
And so anyway, I have not brushed my teeth in 11 years.
Whoa. Do you have many friends?
Pick people up off the floor.
Do you have many friends?
I have plenty of friends, and there's no bad breath. It's amazing. And my holistic dentist is just floored. And about 2 months ago, she to show her technician who does the teeth cleaning, the dentist asked me, when was the last time you had your teeth cleaned? I says, I think it was 35 years ago. And so I sit down in the chair. The technician cleans my teeth. She does a great job, honest to God. So when we got all done, the dentist walks in and asks the technician, well, in your professional opinion, and this lady's been doing it for about 10, 15 years, when was the last time, given what you saw, Pat has had his teeth cleaned? And she says, oh, probably 2.5 years ago. And the dentist started laughing. 35.
You know, that's an interesting statement, because Weston Price went up into the mountains in Switzerland in the 20s or something, and he found whole communities where the kids didn't really brush their teeth, and yet he didn't find cavities. But guess what? Right. Up in those areas are all these fermented milks with high vitamin K in them.
Mm-hmm.
And all grass-fed, high vitamin K. So these were people that were being protected by vitamin K, and they didn't brush their teeth, but they didn't have caries either.
So I'll go one step further. An old mill manager friend, I'll just put it this way, he was on bisphosphonate, either Boniva or Fosamax or something like that.
Yes.
And I'm not going to get into why they put him on that, but his teeth were falling out. And he had necrosis factor of the jaw quite badly. So he called me up and he said, Pat, they're recommending that I get my jaw removed. And
that's nice.
A feeding tube and all that stuff. So Fred was kind of he was 70 years old, and he says, he was from the Bronx of all places, and he got his wrestling scholarship to Syracuse, I believe. And so Fred says, can you help me? And I said, Fred, he said, don't give me that Fred thing. Can you help me? I said, I will. I'll do some digging. Put him on D, K, magnesium, and within 3 months his jaw came around just like new. And dentists say that if you have a patient who's on a bisphosphonate for more than 3 years, they will not do work on the jaw, because the teeth
it goes into necrosis. It can't grow.
Yeah, I can't replenish.
New bone can't regrow.
What a stupid theory for treating a metabolic disease. So you're going to shut it off. So you get a nice DEXA scan, and you
Right.
have
Right.
a bone that really is not functional anymore. It's so scary, and yet it is
Right.
really like the number one option that doctors are offering their patients. They're
Now,
forgetting bone needs to break down and rebuild constantly. So
Right.
I don't know what's happened to the world.
I would love
Well.
to
The
hear.
DEXA, yeah, yeah, the DEXA scan is a good thing. Good thing to just kind of get an idea of what's going on. But bone density has nothing to do with bone strength. Bone strength is a function of the collagen. That's the collagen matrix that's made inside the bone itself. Bone, like your femur, is designed to be flexible. You kill the femur, it'll shatter or crack.
And
It
that's
just
what's
does.
happening.
Right.
All these bones are shattering like antique crystal,
That's correct.
and they
Right.
don't really mend themselves up again well
Mm-hmm.
because of the drugs we're taking.
Right.
Now, we're getting close. We got a few minutes, but we're getting close. And this is really frustrating to me because this is such an amazing topic. Vitamin K and dementia, vitamin K and COVID, which I never knew anything about, vitamin K and blood clotting, but vitamin K and diabetes, how it
Mm-hmm.
supports people with diabetes, vitamin K and kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are topics we haven't even really begun to look into yet. But I want to let the audience know that we have vitamin K here, and we have it in a therapeutic dose. Now, most of you will only take one pill a day, but if you do have jaw necrosis, you might want to take two, the same as those in Japan for osteoporosis. Depending, you might want to take more than two if you're dealing with heart disease and you're trying to turn around and
No, one is all you need.
One is all you
for
need.
osteoporosis.
25.
One is all you need. Yep.
That
All you need for heart disease. Severe osteoporosis, take two. But make sure
take
you do
two
your D and your magnesium. Got to do the D and magnesium together
to create the
for the
balance.
osteo. Right.
Uh-huh.
It's a system, and you got to get. It's like I describe to people. It's like putting tires on your car. You got to put all four on and make your car drive. You know.
So it drives smoothly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
So the number to call is 212-209-2950. And what you will receive as a thank you for supporting your radio station that we do fund drives, but we have no commercials. You listen to other stations, even public radio, and they have commercials. They don't call them commercials, but they are paid for commercials. We don't have any of that. And as a result, we come to you throughout the year to help us and to help yourself to maintain WB as a BAI as a station. And the number to call 212-209-2950. And when you call that number, someone will pick up. You can order the K, you can give $100 donation, or you can give $1,000 donation, all depending on how you value WBAI, but more than how you value, whatever you can do to support your community would be totally appreciated. So the number to call 212-209-2950, and whatever you do to support this radio program, take charge of your health, and whatever you can do to support WBAI and your community. The number to call 212-209-2950. Carol, any other way we can collect funds?
Yes, WBAI.org, the main radio program, and If you have friends and family you want to listen to this program, go to the archives. All radio shows are archived. You can listen to it again if there's something you missed. Go on the site. There are different ways you can donate. Some people work for a corporation that matches your donations. Check for that. You can become a buddy, as Corinne said, with some donation every month taken from your account or your charge card. That works. And this is tax deductible for you. We are public radio. So at the end of the year, you've collected a nice thing to add to your deductions for your taxes. It's a win-win-win-win-win situation. So the number is 212-209-2950. And Pat, I'd like to catch you before it gets too late. You put astaxanthin in your capsule too. Could you explain why?
The astaxanthin is the microencapsulated astaxanthin. It's 2 milligrams. That's the equivalent of taking between 10 and 20 milligrams of the powder. The astaxanthin's in there as a antioxidant, and like anything else, what happens is when your body is metabolizing stuff, all of your cells are perking along. They generate peroxides, and CoQ10 and menaquinone 4 binds up peroxides. But every now and then you just work a little too hard that day, and you generate a little bit too many peroxides, and you're kind of a little bit too sore. And that's where the astaxanthin comes in to kind of bind up the peroxides and keep you on an even keel.
You know, if you're having neck pain, shoulder pain, lower back pain, I remember I was at a conference and one of the people at the conference was talking about their lower back pain. And one of the vendors gave them vitamin K. And in 2 days, they came back and said, I don't have lower back pain anymore. I didn't have any from yesterday or today. And we were all totally impressed. But if you have that, there's no reason not to try vitamin K. You will be building your health while you will be supporting your bones, and you will be bringing down inflammation. Pat, I'm really, we only skipped superficially over the top of this subject. I would love you to come back someday soon so we can really dive deep, go in depth into this subject, and so people can understand a little better how vitamin K supports them if they have diabetes or support.
Sure, happy to do it.
Yeah, we would love you back.
Amazing.
Yes, it really is a pleasure. I love Reader's Digest versions. The number to call 212-209-2950. That's 212-209-2950. Call, receive the premium. It's $100 premium. It's Concentrate K. You will not find this dose. It will be very difficult to find it. If you do find it, let me know. But this is pure. I've used it with my patients. I've used it with my family. And you're getting something spectacular. So we've got 2 more minutes. Carol, it's your turn. Take it away.
Well, I'm delighted. Thank you again, Pat, for your kind donation for this fundraiser. And we really appreciate it. But even more so, thank you for the gift of your time and information. Somewhere on your website, you said you had put in 11,000 hours of research into the medical literature to find out what's happening in your own body and what to do about it. This is phenomenal. You're at the apex of taking charge of your health and going even further to produce a product to let other people benefit by all your findings. Thank you so much.
I'm very much humbled to have helped, and I read 3 to 4 hours a day, as does my business partner, of constantly trying to figure out how to do it better, faster, smarter, safer. And since her and I both take the product, we're highly motivated to do it right.
The number to call is 212-209-2950, and we want to thank you very much. And we will be back next week. Please call. You can continue calling even after we go off the air, and just say this is for Take Charge of Your Health, and it's for Concentrated K, both starting with a K, and we would love feedback. We're getting feedback on the olive oil. People are calling in saying that it was so wonderful. And so one thing I know is we only come to you with the best of the best of the best. And right here and now, we have the best of the best in front of you. Take advantage of it. It'll only help your health, your grandparents' health, your children's health, and benefit everyone. The number to call, 212-209-2950. The other thing that was on the studies, they have never found a toxic dose of vitamin K.
That's quite remarkable.
On that, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget, keep calling 212-209-2950.
We'll be back next week. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
In conclusion, I'd like to say, remember, this information is not an attempt to diagnose or a substitute for treatment. As always, we urge you to take this and all other information we share with you up with your healthcare practitioner. Clearly, this comes under the category of taking charge of your health. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, and we'll be back next week. Bye-bye.